I'm Shakina.
And I'm Kevin, and we're the parents of Adiah and Adrial, who were born at 22 weeks exactly.
They were born 126 days early. I remember going into my very first ultrasound before I found out I was pregnant, and I was really nervous because at the previous ultrasound that I'd been in, we had found out that we were going to miscarry a baby that we were pregnant with. So I was extra nervous, and I remember the ultrasound technician, she put the gel on my stomach and she started looking at a screen. So I asked her, is there a heartbeat? Is there a heartbeat? And she looked at me and she put 2 fingers up and she said, there are 2 heartbeats.
I was just speechless, and yeah, it was just a super exciting moment.
Mm-hmm. When I went into labor at 21 weeks and 5 days, I woke up having extreme pain and experiencing contractions, and I was bleeding, and I just had this feeling that this was not right, something was wrong.
The first thought in my mind is, are we going to lose this pregnancy? Shakina was admitted and examined in about the space of 3 minutes, I guess. The initial reaction was, I'm sorry for your loss. You're going to lose these babies. They may come out any minute now, and there's no possibility that they're going to survive.
We were in shock. The first thought that went through my mind was, no, not again, because 3 months before that, we had just lost a baby in that very same hospital. They also advised us that there was nothing they could do, and that the best the hospital could offer was comfort care, meaning they would, once the babies were born, they would take the babies and put them on my chest and Kevin's chest, and they would just wait for them to die. A few hours later, an ultrasound was done, and the ultrasound showed that the babies were still very much alive. They still had very strong heartbeats, and they were not in distress. And so we were begging the doctor to do something to save the babies. Then we found an organization called 22 Matters. The goal of the organization is to raise awareness about the viability of 21-weeker babies and 22-weeker babies.
And she was messaging me back and forth, giving me tips and questions I should ask the doctors. Ask for magnesium sulfate, ask for steroids that would help the baby's lungs before they're born. The magnesium is for their brain and neurodevelopment.
And so we found out through that organization that Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto would resuscitate the babies if they were born at 22 weeks. We felt really distressed, we felt helpless, we didn't know what else we could do. And thankfully, even though I was in labor, I was having contractions every few minutes at that point. The babies were not born, and I got to 21 weeks and 6 days. And now Mount Sinai had accepted the transfer request. Mount Sinai Hospital, the team informed us that if the babies were born that day, it would be a death sentence for the babies if they were born before 22, because they did not have the capacities to resuscitate babies before 22 weeks either.
Amidst all that scenario of being told that the chance of survival is pretty much 0%, the chance of disability, and that too significant disability, is really high. We were just clinging to our hope and faith, trusting in God.
I was experiencing a lot of bleeding, and I didn't know if I could hold the babies in until they got to the 22-week and 0 mark. But I knew that I had to hold the babies in, because if I didn't, they wouldn't be alive. Half an hour before midnight, I felt like my water broke, and I thought that this was it. Because I was unable to keep the babies in, they're going to die, and it's going to be because of me. I woke him up and I said, I'm really sorry, I can't do this anymore, I think the babies are going to arrive now. And I was just in tears. I felt so distraught that I wasn't able to hold the babies for just another half an hour. But miraculously, they said that my water had not broken yet. I fell asleep, and then I woke up again 15 minutes after midnight. So 15 minutes after they crossed the 22-week and 0 days mark, my water actually broke for real this time. Our daughter Adiah arrived first. She arrived at 1:22 a.m. and our son
Adrial arrived at 1:45 a.m. Adiah weighing in 330 grams and Adrial weighing in 420. I think the first concern that was highlighted to us was the fact that both babies had brain bleeds. And so this is bleeding in the brain. And it had different levels of severity, ranging from grade 1 all the way to grade 4, being very severe. And Adiah, we were told, had a grade 3 brain bleed, and Adrial had a grade 2 brain bleed.
I love you, Adri.
So yeah, Adrial has had a difficult course in general compared to Adiah. They discovered blood in Adrial's stool. It was suspected that he had something called NEC. Adrial ended up spending 7 weeks in Sick Kids NICU.
He had pulmonary hypertension, his lung disease had worsened, his kidneys were not doing good, and he also had sepsis. We were so afraid that we were going to lose him. The babies stayed in the hospital for close to 6 months. Adiah was discharged first, so she was discharged after 161 days, and Adrial was discharged a week later after 167 days.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The first few days after we had the babies home, it was scary at first because Adiah was off the monitors for the first time. We wouldn't know if her heart rate was falling, we wouldn't know if her oxygen was saturating well.
They also had a long list of meds that needed to be administered through syringes, so waking up at night, dealing with syringes with 2 babies was difficult.
On top of just the regular challenges of having twins.
So they both have unique personalities. Adiah is a cheerful, fun girl, and she likes to laugh and babble and go on walks while she's being held. And Adrial, on the other hand, is more analytical. He likes to look at things and
He's very observant.
He's very observant. He looks at people intently as though he's trying to know who they are.
I would say to other parents going through the NICU journey, just being there, being present for your babies, makes a huge difference on their outcomes. Speak positive words to them, tell them about how much you love them, tell them about all of the things you hope and you dream for them. Be present for your babies. Be brave to advocate, to stand up for what your babies need.
We're amazed that our twins have the record title, but beyond that, I think what we're really happy about and passionate about is that this is going to help push the dialogue on viability. We do hope that this is a record that gets broken and signifies that progress is being made in terms of babies that can be resuscitated even at much earlier gestations, and recognizing that life begins so much earlier than we might know at this point today. So.